obviously will appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
President Donald Trump suffers the first legal setback of his days-old administration. That federal judge in Seattle put Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship on hold for now. The lawsuit to block the order was brought by Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes and fellow Democratic AGs from 3 other states. This could be just the first skirmish in a long battle between the Republican president and the country's Democratic attorneys general over how the law is enforced. Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes, welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks, Bram. It's great to be here.
What is at stake in this lawsuit?
The American Constitution and the rule of law, and whether or not any president, whether it's Donald Trump, can, with an executive order and the stroke of a pen, eliminate a section of the United States Constitution. In this case, it was the 14th Amendment, Section 1, which states very clearly any person who is born in the United States or naturalized here is a citizen of the United States. And a Reagan-appointed judge stated, and he only took 25 minutes to decide this case, issuing the temporary restraining order against Trump's EO, executive order, stated that the executive order was blatantly unconstitutional. I called it nakedly unconstitutional. It just is, on the plain language of the 14th Amendment. I think it's important to remember that this dates back to slavery. The 14th Amendment was passed during Reconstruction to overturn Dred Scott, one of the most awful decisions in the history of our country, that said that slaves and their descendants could not be citizens of the United States.
What is your basic argument, though? That's not the legal argument. What is the legal argument here?
Well, number one, that the Constitution says what it says. Okay, so we got that. Pretty simple.
Right.
Second, this is going to cost Arizona hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's going to create chaos at our hospitals, as now hospitals have to be the determiners or deciders of whether or not 2 parents are citizens. Think back when, you know, your kids were being born, or when my daughter was being born. What am I supposed to do? Produce my papers? Is my daughter's father supposed to produce his papers? Are we supposed to go find the birth certificates of our parents? And so it's going to cause chaos. It's going to cost us money. It's going to cost the nation so much by depriving thousands of babies born here of the ability to participate in our nation, in the fabric of our society. You know, all of a sudden you would have babies that are born who are stateless in the United States. And we have women in Arizona who are pregnant right now, Bram, who don't know whether or not their babies are going to be citizens.
The judge blocked this for 2 weeks, but ultimately this is going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, isn't it?
Oh, almost certainly. You know, our case will probably go through the Ninth Circuit. Obviously, based on what our judge just said, we feel very good about the case in his court, but it'll probably be appealed to the Ninth Circuit. Then these cases will end up at the Supreme Court. So
there are a couple arguments against birthright citizenship. Number one, it's an incentive for undocumented immigrants to come here and have babies. There's also an electoral argument. Last November, voters said, we want Donald Trump and his immigration policies. So what do you say to both of those, in particular the last one, standing in the way of what voters want?
I don't think voters voted to shred the American Constitution. I absolutely don't think that, either the Arizona Constitution or the American Constitution. And I would say, secondarily, if they want to overturn birthright citizenship, then they need to do it the right way, which is a constitutional convention. They're
talking about that.
I guess they're talking about that. Good luck getting 3/4 of the states to agree to that. But, you know, you can't just, with the stroke of a pen, overturn an amendment to the Constitution. I mean, Bram, what if Kris Mayes became president someday and decided that she wanted...
Are you running?
Well, no, I'm very happy as the Attorney General of Arizona, but decided that I wanted to, with the stroke of a pen, eliminate the First Amendment and eliminate your job and your duties. That would be just as ridiculous.
You could have future collisions with the Trump immigration agenda, as could the attorneys general around the country. Department of Justice official issued a memo this past week saying any state or local official who stands in the way of us could be prosecuted by the U.S. attorney, the federal prosecutor in that state. What's your response to that?
Bring it on. I mean, it's absurd. I don't know of any prosecutor or any official who is standing in the way of attempts and efforts to secure our border. In fact, I would say it's just the opposite. I argue that Donald Trump has stood in the way of efforts to secure our border. He's the one, Bram. Donald Trump is the one who convinced all those Republicans in Congress to tank the bipartisan border bill, which would have brought us more Border Patrol agents. It would have brought us more DEA agents. Donald Trump, during his first term, allowed a situation in which we have 3 times fewer DEA agents in the state of Arizona than the state of New York and the state of Florida. That's absurd. And Donald Trump has he's been in office for 7 days now. For every single one of those days, he failed to send us the DEA agents that we need. He could immediately add resources to the border. He could immediately bring us additional surveillance equipment on the border, which our sheriffs desperately need. He could immediately take concrete steps. But what is he doing? He's signing, unconstitutional executive orders and a whole bunch of meaningless babble instead of stuff that really matters for our law enforcement. So I've got a message for Donald Trump this morning with you, which is I'm going to hold you accountable under the law for making sure that we secure our border.
I need to shift to a developing story here in Phoenix, the financial crisis at the Phoenix's Isaac Elementary School District. Teachers in that tiny West Phoenix district, about 4,000, 5,000 students, could go without paychecks next week because of that financial crisis. $19 million just vanished. They don't know what happened to it. You and Governor Hobbs have said, Maricopa County, you guys have to step up, provide the money for those paychecks. Maricopa County is saying, that's not our job, that's yours, Katie Hobbs and the legislature. You guys fund the schools. Why should Maricopa County pay for this?
Well, first of all, Maricopa County has been, and traditionally when you have a situation like this where a county or a school district is in trouble, the county has continued to issue the warrants until, like, for instance, the receiver that we helped get into place has a chance to do his job. That receiver is in place. All we need is for the county or the legislature, for that matter, and the governor to step up and continue to provide funding while the receiver does their job. Bram, we just need some adults in the room, and that's what we're trying to be, adults in the room. Let's give the receiver a couple of extra weeks. What we don't need is to punish 5,000 kids who are in a low-income school district and those teachers who are now wondering whether they're going to get paychecks. That's what we don't need. We need somebody at the county or the legislative level to step up and continue to issue those warrants and the funding while we get this sorted out.
Is your office investigating a possible crime in this district? We don't know where the money went. It's just gone? What's your sense of what happened?
So far, it looks like it's mismanagement. So, for instance, we believe that they failed to pull down COVID money that other school districts did pull down. But I will tell you, if we see any evidence of embezzlement or anything like that, of course we would investigate.
But there's no evidence as of now?
As of now, no. We think it's mismanagement. It's a poor school district. And of course, let's not forget, we have a legislature that continues to fund vouchers at $1 billion and allows fraud in the voucher program and allows situations where we're spending taxpayer money on things like dune buggies and trips to Disneyland. That has to come to an end too.
Got to end it there. Kris Mayes, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Bram.